Hello, my name is Dr. Sayma Ahmed and I'm a GP, and welcome to 5 myth-busting facts you need to know about diabetes. There is so much information available when it comes to diabetes. Some will come from conversations with family or friends, some from talking with your GP or healthcare professionals, and some from your own research in the library or on the internet. However, it is important to know what's true and what isn't. Too much information can be confusing and quite dangerous too, given the significant impact that diabetes can have on your health. There are also some beliefs within the Bangladeshi community that we ought to address. There are some people from our community who will tell you that diabetes isn't that serious, that we don't have a higher chance of being diagnosed, and that it doesn't mean we need to change our lifestyle, and ultimately Allah decides our fate, not doctors. Others will tell you diabetes is so serious you're unlikely to ever recover. I know of engagements called off because it's thought a woman with diabetes can't have children. I've heard of men refuse work or shunned for the weakness of living with diabetes. There are those that will tell you diabetes is all about how much you weigh. There are others that say it's passed down from your parents. There are those that say it's fatal and those that claim to know the cure. But all these wildly contradictory statements have something in common. They're all myths, every last one. And that's why it's good to talk about diabetes. At first, it's incredibly difficult to find the truth in the middle of all this noise, but it's there. And often it's simply been stretched or shortened. Diabetes is serious and it can be dangerous. And as Bangladeshis, we are more susceptible, but there are ways you can manage it. This does involve changing your lifestyle, but there are many small, simple tweaks that can make a big difference. Diabetes isn't about being overweight, although this is a factor for type 2 diabetes. And sadly, there isn't a cure yet. But the likes of the NHS and Diabetes UK are constantly pushing boundaries and working towards a future when diabetes can do no harm. But they can't do it alone. We need to play our part too, which is why it's so important to understand that diabetes is serious, but it isn't a weakness. There are some people who seem to see this condition as a trivial matter. You often hear, everyone has it, so it can't be that serious, but it is. However, when people living with diabetes are treated differently, whether it's assumptions about childbirth, strength, or status, it's often rooted in ignorance and only leads to people feeling shame for living with a condition that affects almost 5 million people in the UK, with a significant percentage coming from the Bangladeshi community. Sadly, many men and women would rather hide their diabetes, even from close family, than risk a negative reaction. This becomes a vicious circle where simple acts like declining jalebi at a family gathering or injecting insulin before a meal are questioned and judged, to the point where people managing their condition are doing it in secret, or even worse, not at all. Remember, people living with diabetes not only lead healthy, happy lives, but they run marathons, climb mountains, and reach the pinnacle of their chosen professions and sports, like 20-time Wimbledon champion Billie Jean King and 5-time Olympic legend Steve Redgrave. Equally, most women with diabetes have healthy babies. There are more risks involved, so they need to talk to their healthcare team to understand these risks and learn what they can do to minimize them. And it's this practical approach, using the expert advice available, that helps us break another myth by understanding that diabetes is not all about sugar. Because diabetes is a condition where blood sugar levels are too high, it's easy to think eating too much sugar is the cause. So let's be clear, sugar is not the cause of diabetes, but eating too much sugar also won't help manage your levels. In reality, it's more important to think about how best to manage your diabetes. And here we're really talking about carbohydrates. Carbohydrates can be split into two main groups: starchy carbs like rice, paratha, potatoes and cereals, and sugar, which is either naturally found in fruit, veg and dairy, or added sugars found in cakes, sweets and sugary drinks. We all need our 5 a day, so you shouldn't cut out sugar completely. Just try and stick to the sugars that are naturally present in foods such as fruits and vegetables. Aiming for 5 portions a day made up of 2 of the fruit and 3 portions of vegetables is a good way to achieve the 5 a day recommendation. Equally, we all need to eat carbs every day, and the amount will depend on your age, activity levels, and whether you live with type 1 or type 2 diabetes. In general, if your blood sugar levels are too high, try to reduce the amount you're eating. So instead of eating 4 parathas, try eating 2 and reduce that half plate of rice to a quarter. But it's also important to focus on the quality of the carbs that you choose. What does this mean? Well, it means choosing high fibre, slow acting carbohydrates that will deliver the energy your body needs without raising your blood sugar levels too quickly. Great examples range from lau, uri and begun to aloo posta and wholemeal chapatis. Once you start exploring the endless world of slow acting carbs, you'll find you have much more energy to shatter the next myth on our list by understanding the importance of physical activity. It's very easy to put off exercise for another day, whether it's looking after the children, a busy job, the weather, or just a bad day. And it's true. There's some extra planning and preparation when living with diabetes. It's also true that exercise doesn't always complement the Muslim culture. It can be difficult to dress appropriately when swimming or cycling, for example. Sometimes we prioritise many other things before our own health and well-being for the sake of family. So, to make physical activity seem more manageable, it can help to swap the word exercise for 2, moving more. You can move more in any clothing as long as it's comfortable. It won't interrupt your day or take much effort or time at all. It's as simple and unselfish as a 10-minute walk around the park or a game of cricket on the weekend. Or if you're not as mobile as you used to be, some simple chair exercises that you can do from the comfort of your own home. The best way you can move more is to find something you enjoy or simply do more of what you're already doing. Best of all, moving more has an incredible effect on not just your diabetes, but your health in general. Try to avoid sitting down for too long, whether it's at the desk or in front of the TV. Make sure you get up from your seat once every hour and move around the house for a few minutes. Moving more each day will burn calories, help manage your blood sugar and look after your heart, but it can also reduce stress, improve your cholesterol, and by reducing any extra weight around your stomach, you can even increase your sensitivity to insulin, which means less medication. Which brings us to our 5th and final myth to bust. Herbal remedies do not help manage diabetes. This is not to say that Ayurvedic medicines have no worth, quite the opposite. They're a rich and wonderful part of Bangladeshi culture, passed down from generation to generation. The custodians of these cures are often our grandmothers or great-grandmothers. But when it comes to type 1 diabetes and many people living with type 2, there is a daily routine of medication and monitoring that simply can't be ignored. This isn't a case of choosing one over the other. It's an acceptance that both forms have value in our modern lives. There is no research that suggests herbal remedies such as Karela, Kamhui or Rongon have a positive impact on managing your diabetes. Karela, being bitter in taste, is often seen as the cure for diabetes, but it's not. So, if you choose to use herbal remedies, check first with your healthcare team. Herbal remedies should not replace the medications prescribed to you by your diabetes team, as not all of them are safe. Some can even cause kidney damage. So, those were the 5 myth-busting facts you need to know about diabetes. 1. It's good to talk about diabetes. 2. Diabetes is serious, but it isn't a weakness. 3. Diabetes is not all about sugar. 4. The importance of physical activity. 5. Herbal remedies do not help manage your diabetes.